Good morning, students. Yesterday we have concluded Stokes' law and the viscosity, the viscous force, how it is related to the velocity of a falling object to a fluid, and we have learnt F equal to 6 pi eta AB as a Stokes' law. Then we calculated what is terminal velocity and we found out the equation for terminal velocity. Now we are discussing a very important property of all the liquids. It is the important property of only the liquids. Whenever we take water or any liquid in a container, it will have a well defined surface. We know that the liquids do not have a shape, but they have fixed volume. Okay. What is the reason for a liquid to have a well defined surface? This is what we are going to discuss. Before that, let us discuss some of the interesting experiences what we already have. We know that oil and water do not mix. Water wets the skin surface, whereas the same water do not wet the feather of duck. Duck feather doesn't wet the water doesn't wet the duck feather. Even the leaf, if you take a leaf of a tree and put some water on that, the water does not stick to the leaf, it flows down. Similarly, mercury does not stick to our skin. Mercury does not stick to glass surface, whereas water sticks to our surface. Water sticks to glass surface as well as water makes our skin wet. These are some common experiences. And one more interesting thing is the oil is moving through the wick, cotton wick. You must have seen in a lamp, for example, kerosene lamp, there is a cotton wick. The oil rises through the cotton wick and thus it helps for burning of the cotton wick. Against the gravity, the oil rises, kerosene oil, for example. In the same way, in all the trees you have studied, the sap and water rises against the gravity and reaches the leaf surfaces. How is this things happening? One more interesting example is a paint brush. When you take a paint brush, dry brush, the hairs do not cling together. Even when you put it in the water, the hairs spread away from each other in the water. If you put the the paint brush inside the water, the hair, they spread away. But when you take out from the water, it will form a fine tip. All hair cling together to form a fine tip. So, to find the answers for all these, we are learning a very interesting property of the surface of the liquids. And that important property is called surface tension. The surface of a liquid is having some additional energy. The molecules of the surface of these liquids have some additional energy. Because of this possessing of some additional energy, we observe the kind of surface tension. The water surface or any liquid surface behaves like a stretched membrane. It behaves like a stretched membrane. At any moment, the stretched membrane tries to collapse. Its tendency is to collapse. In the same way, any liquid surface, if you consider, it has a property of behaving like a stretched membrane, stretched rubber sheet. What makes the liquids to have this behavior of possessing additional energy or stretched membrane? That's what we are going to discuss in detail. The surface tension is the property of the liquid surface molecules, the property of surface molecules by the virtue of their additional energy, by their virtue of additional energy possessed per unit area, they possess property of a kind of surface tension behaving like a stretched membrane. So we are now going in details about what makes these molecules on the surface of a liquid to possess this additional energy. Now let us consider a water being taken in a container. Water being taken in a container. Now we are going to discuss about how the molecules on the surface possess the additional energy. The phenomenon of possessing additional energy per unit area of the surface is termed as surface tension. How is it? Let us see. Consider two molecules, molecule A, molecule B. Molecule A, liquid molecule A, is deep inside the water surface. It is deep inside the water. This molecule A is surrounded by the liquid molecules. So there exists a force of attraction between the liquid molecules. So the arrow mark which I have shown here are the force of pull by the neighboring molecules. So this molecule A is being pulled by attractive forces by all the existing neighboring molecules. Here I have shown only two-dimensional picture. You have to imagine three-dimensional picture. Okay. So all the molecules which are there in the neighborhood are pulling that molecule. So the net force acting on this molecule is almost going to be 0. And this molecule is stable. It is in equilibrium. When the liquid is at rest, this molecule is in equilibrium. So molecule A is in equilibrium, suggests that the molecule A is having minimum potential energy, that is negative potential energy. The negative potential energy is due to the attractive forces, intermolecular attractive forces. Since the intermolecular attractive forces exist in the liquid state, as a result, the molecule A is having minimum potential energy, that too negative potential energy. Molecule A is possessing negative potential energy so it is in equilibrium. Because of strong attractive forces exerted by all the neighborhood molecules. Now consider molecule B. Molecule B is on the surface of the liquid surface. Molecule B is on the liquid surface. Now you see, only the molecules which are below and sideways, only the molecules which are below the B and sideways, laterally, whichever molecules are there, they exert the strong attractive force. They pull each other by strong attractive force. And above B, there are no molecules. Above B, there are no liquid molecules. So there is no force of pull above the surface of B, above the surface of liquid. Here it may be air. Air is a gas medium. So the intermolecular force between the liquid molecule and air molecule will be negligible. Therefore, whatever the stability is there is because of this neighborhood molecules. neighborhood molecules. So compared to A, B is having some additional energy because the potential energy of B at this level compared to A is little higher. It is little higher. Reason is it is being pulled by almost half of the neighborhoods. Here, if you take n is the number of molecules which are surrounding molecule A, here will be almost n by 2. So, whatever the energy that is possessed by A, this B is having half additional energy. So, all the molecules on the surface of this liquid will be having this additional potential energy. So, this additional energy possessed per unit area, we are going to call it as surface energy per unit area. This surface energy per unit area leads to the property what is called as surface tension. So, molecule B is possessing half the negative potential energy as compared with molecule B, which is deep inside the liquid. Molecule B is deep inside the liquid. The reason is the neighboring molecules of B are half compared to the neighboring molecules of A. As a result, this will have a net force. The net force here at A is 0 because of the equal amount of pull exerted by all the neighboring molecules. But here if you observe, the net force is not 0. The net force is going to be acting vertically downwards. Okay. So, if you assume a line of molecules, suppose this is the water surface, I am just drawing the water surface and I am drawing a line of molecules. This line of molecules are being equally pulled apart by neighboring molecules. They are being equally pulled apart by neighboring molecules, and they are being equally pulled by molecules which are downwards also. So, this imaginary line of molecules is under a kind of tension. So, the tension is such that the molecules on this surface and as a surface as a whole tends to possess minimum surface area. It has a tendency to possess minimum surface area because the net force is going to be vertically downwards. If you calculate the net force is going to be vertically downwards because of the existing molecules which are below the surface. The molecules which are there below the surface will be exerting attracting pull. As a result, it will possess a kind of net force acting vertically downwards. This force acting per unit length, on the imaginary line is called as surface tension. It is called as surface tension. First we will define surface tension in terms of surface energy. So, the additional energy possessed by the surface molecules area is called surface tension. This additional energy possessed per unit area of the surface is the property responsible for all these experiences which just now we have discussed. Formation of fine tip of paint brush. When we take the paint brush out of the water, all the hair cling together to form a fine tip. The water surface is formed on all the hairs together and it forms a tip, well defined tip, sharp tip. It is because of the surface energy possessed by the molecules of water which cling together to form a fine tip. And all the observations, experiences, whatever we have discussed, it is all because of this additional energy possessed by the surface molecules per unit area. Now, this can be also defined in terms of force per unit length. How it is defined? With this particular example, the force per unit length acting on the imaginary line on the surface vertically down, which tends to bring it vertically down, is also called as surface tension. Surface tension. Now we will relate how surface tension, force per unit length, is equal to surface energy per unit area. How is it that force per unit length is equal to surface per unit energy? We are going to find out the relation between them. Okay. We have just now discussed molecules on the surface are having certain additional energy. How much additional energy the molecules on the surface have in comparison with the molecules which are deep inside the liquid surface? To understand this, we know that heat of evaporation required for water molecule is 40 kilojoules per mole. It is 40 kilojoules per mole. It means in order to take the molecule which is deep inside the water, bring it to the water surface and to spread it to the next medium like air, it requires 40 kilojoule per mole. 40 kilojoule per mole. Then in comparison with the molecules which are deep inside, the molecules which are on the surface of the water are having additional energy, which we have just now discussed, almost half of the additional energy. Half of the additional energy is enough for these molecules which are there on the surface of the water to get evaporated from the surface. I think you got the idea. Heat of evaporation means the heat required to take the liquid molecules from the liquid state and to disperse in the form of vapor into the air. That is called as heat of evaporation. So for molecules which are deep inside, it is 40 kilojoule per mole. So for those molecules which are there on the surface, it will be approximately 20 kilojoule per molecule, because these molecules are already having half of the additional energy. This is what we call it as surface energy possessed by the molecules. This surface energy possessed by the molecules is responsible for all the experiences that we have discussed. Okay, now let us understand the relation between surface energy and surface tension. Let us take a loop. Let us take a loop of this rectangular shape, and this is provided with a movable rod, and let us form a liquid film in this. Let the length of this rectangular loop be L, and let it be dipped in a liquid surface so that it forms a well defined thin film inside this loop. Well defined thin film inside this loop. To give example, you must have played with soap water. When you take some soap powder and mix it with water, it forms soap solution, right? Then take one particular loop of this rectangular shape, dip it inside and take it out. A thin film is formed. Okay, thin film is formed. So this thin film which is formed will be having a tendency to pull this movable rod inwards. This will be having a tendency because of the surface energy possessed by the molecules. Now, this surface which we are seeing is having two sides, one on the front and the other on the back. Means it is having two interfaces. One on the front, liquid air in the front region, liquid air in the back region. So there are two surfaces. Now let us do some work in expanding this film. Means in order to expand this film without breaking, one has to do work. Why one has to do work? Because there is a force of pull exerted by these molecules which tends to pull this movable rod inwards. Now, in order to expand this through small distance d, I am drawing one more same diagram. Now it is expanded through small distance. This is the earlier position. Now it is expanded through small distance d. Then how much force has to be exerted? The force exerted here should be same as the force that is exerted by this soap film on this rod, which is trying to pull this movable rod inwards. So we are applying same amount of force F, and we are trying to move it through a small displacement d. So work has to be done. So this work done in pulling it through a small distance d, is utilized in increasing the area. Means in order to increase the surface area, some amount of work needs to be done. In order to increase surface area without breaking it, work has to be done. What has to be done against the pull inwards. Force potential that is acting on this rod inwards. So work has to be done against the pull inwards. So some additional energy has to be spent in order to expand this. So this additional energy let us calculate. What done in increasing the surface area is calculated as W is equal to force into displacement. How much force we are exerting so that the film is not broken, the film is still intact without any damage, and it is expanded to small displacement d, so that force into displacement gives us the work done. Now already the surface energy per unit area is considered as S. Let surface energy, additional energy, that's what we are calling surface energy per unit area. Surface energy per unit area is taken as S. So this surface energy per unit area can be now written as this surface energy per unit area can be now written as, since there are two surfaces, so surface energy per unit area S is equal to, if we take same W as energy, then it is equal to W divided by 2dl, where 2dl gives us the correction here. Let surface energy per unit area be S. Now the area is increased by dl, since it is having two surfaces, one on the front and another one on the back. So the increase in area is 2 into dl. 2 into dl. This is the increase in area. You see, increase in area is dl on the front, dl on the back, so it becomes 2 dl. I think you got the point. This liquid surface is in between two interfaces, right? One on the front where there is air, another one on the back, there also there is air. So there are two liquid air interfaces. Therefore, increasing area is going to be 2 dl. Therefore, how much is the energy required to increase the area? Let us calculate. Therefore, the energy or additional energy required to increase the area by 2 dl is equal to S into 2 dl. S into 2 dl, because S is the energy per unit area. S energy per unit area multiplied by total area gives us additional energy required to increase the area. This is, you can write additional energy required to increase the area. So we have already taken the work done as, in terms of force, we have taken it as force into displacement. So this work done must be equal to the additional energy required to increase the surface area. Therefore, S into 2 dl, the additional energy per unit area, the additional energy required to increase the area must be equal to work done, that is F into D. So you can write additional energy in order to increase area is equal to work done by force. Work done by force is F into T. Now we can calculate what is that surface energy per unit area. Therefore, surface energy per unit area S is equal to Fd upon 2dl. So D cancels. dl, you can see this is of length l, so dl front and dl back, so it is 2dl. So dd cancels, so you are left with f upon 2l. So this is how we relate surface energy per unit area as equal to force per unit length, that itself is called as surface tension. Therefore, surface energy per unit area equal to surface tension that is force per unit length, surface tension. So that's how we define force acting per unit length of an imaginary line of molecules present on the surface of the liquid is called as surface tension. That's how surface tension has two meaning: surface energy possessed per unit area, surface energy possessed per unit area, which is equal to surface tension. How to measure surface tension experimentally? Consider a beaker of water taken in a beaker, and a physical balance. One side of the physical balance is attached with a glass slide of edge length L. Let the length of the edge be L. Right? And other side is a pan. Now the glass slide is balanced by the pan. Now the purpose is to measure the surface tension. Slowly lift this water beaker. Slowly lift the water beaker such that the glass edge just touches the water surface. The glass edge just touches the water surface. The moment the glass edge touches the water surface, what happens? The water level will be, let us say, this one. When the water just touches the glass surface, because of the surface energy possessed by the molecules, the glass slide is pulled downwards. The glass slide is suddenly pulled downwards. Now, you take some fractional weights and keep a small fractional weight, say of some mass m. Of mass m, such that the glass slide is just being pulled out of the water surface. When the glass slide just pulls out of water surface, it forms a thin film here. A thin film like this. This thin film is of edge L. This thin film is of the edge L. So this is because of the weight that we have added here, additional weight. Let m be the mass, additional mass, which will be responsible for this glass slide to just come out of the water surface and form a thin film here. This thin film diagram I have drawn here. This is water surface. And again, when you look at this thin film between the water surface and the edge of the glass surface, it is again having two surface areas. One is the front, another one is back. If you take this distance as d again, then the area, additional area that is formed here is 2dl. Additional area that is formed here is 2dl. Again, we can calculate what is the surface tension as we have done earlier. So the work done in increasing surface area is S into 2dl. That is additional work done in increasing surface area is surface energy per unit area into 2dl should be equal to the work done that has displaced it through a small distance d. This is what we are taking now, distance d. So that is given by force into displacement. I think you got the point. Additional energy in order to form increase in surface area is equal to work done by the weight in order to displace it through small displacement d. So this force here is equal to the weight, that additional weight that we have added here, that is mg. So if you substitute this, then S into 2dl is equal to mg into d. Again d cancels. Therefore, S is equal to mg upon 2l. So by the knowledge of mass, that is additional mass, of that fractional weight, which is required to just separate the glass edge from the water surface, and L, length of glass edge or length of the glass slide, we can calculate surface tension. So this is how experimentally one can calculate surface tension. Now you can see the surface tension, which is measured as the force per unit length acting, in the case of movable bar, force per unit length acting on the movable bar in the previous example. Now force per unit length acting on the edge surface, water edge surface. So that force per unit length is called as the surface tension. It is, in other words, surface energy possessed per unit area. Surface energy per unit area is equal to surface tension. So with the knowledge of this additional mass, we can calculate what is surface tension. This is one way of measuring the surface tension in the laboratory. So now you can write what is SI unit of surface tension. SI unit of surface tension is force per unit length, that is Newton per meter. That is from the definition of surface tension. Surface energy per unit area, that can also be written in terms of energy. Surface energy per unit area. Surface energy per unit area. Unit of energy is joule per meter square. Joule per meter square is also equal to Newton per meter. You can just use it, this one. Newton meter divided by meter square. So 1 meter cancels. Therefore, joule per meter square is also equal to Newton per meter. That's how one can find the relation between surface energy and surface tension. Therefore, surface energy per unit area or additional surface energy per unit area is also equal to surface tension. Okay. Now, this surface energy per unit area depends on the interface. Now, we have considered liquid with air. In all the cases, wherever we have taken a container with water, the surrounding medium is air. Right? The surrounding medium may not be air all the time. Suppose we take water on a glass slide, glass surface. If we take water on a glass surface, then we see that water wets glass surface. But when we take mercury on glass surface, on another glass surface, mercury does not wet the glass surface. It forms a beautiful drop. mercury does not wet the glass surface. This is explained based on this surface energy per unit area. When the water wets the glass surface means there is an attractive force between water and the glass surface. So here the interface is water and glass surface. At the point, at the area where the water comes in contact with the solid surface, you see, if I just draw, this is the glass. On this, if I have taken water, the water will be forming, it will spread like this. This is how it forms water surface. The interface here is solid liquid interface. Here it is solid liquid interface. So surface energy of this solid liquid interface we need to consider. When you take glass surface with mercury, the mercury does not wet, it forms a drop like this. Then you see the surface in contact is very minimum. So this is mercury. So we need to consider this liquid solid interface. So liquid solid interface, liquid here is surrounded by air. So liquid air interface is different, liquid solid interface is different. So the water wets the solid surface is because the surface energy per unit area of the water molecules with respect to solid is reduced. So surface tension between water and solid surface is less for water. As a result, the water wets the solid surface. Whereas when we consider mercury, the mercury doesn't wet the solid surface. Mercury doesn't wet the solid surface. It means what? The surface energy of this liquid solid interface is very high. When the surface tension is very high, it means surface energy per unit area of the liquid with respect to that solid is very high. If that is so, then it will not be able to wet the surface. This is the reason why mercury doesn't wet the glass surface. The reason is the surface tension of mercury with respect to glass interface is very high, whereas water wets the surface because the surface energy of water with respect to solid glass is less. Therefore, it spreads. When the surface tension is reduced, it spreads. As a result, it wets. This is how we are going to continue the discussion in the forthcoming videos. It's quite interesting. Please go through in detail and read thoroughly so that we can go ahead with very convenient. Thank you. Have a nice day.